An interesting thing happened today. I had lunch and I've been eating canned vegetables, and the okra was spoiled on the top when I opened up the can. It was very dark and syrupy looking. It didn't have the structure of, a vegetable that's been cooked. It looked like slush, and it was dark. And underneath that was normal okra. Well, I'm looking at it and sniffing it, and I decided to taste it. Just, on the tip of my tongue, a little piece, a little dribble, a little drop or two from the end of the spoon, because it was in fluids. And it didn't taste right, so I threw it away. But I didn't spit out what was in my mouth, didn't rinse it out. I just swallowed it, and opened up another can. It was fine, and ate that. And I'm thinking to myself, don't you get botulism from something like this? I feel okay. Well, that was lunch, or so. Now it's evening, and I started feeling a little sick, a little sore throat, queasy stomach, tiny touch of a fever, not much. Okay, so what do I do? So I reached for a little ball of silver wax, beeswax, silver embedded in beeswax. I take a bite, a nice sized bite, and I start chewing it. And I'm enjoying it, and I'm watching an enjoyable comedy to help cheer me up. And it's like chewing gum. And, I'm getting it stuck between my teeth, so I get the toothpick out, and because I want to get every morsel, right? I don't want to waste any of it. And I still feel a little sick, and so I take another bite. And at that point, the beeswax seems to have used up most of my saliva because it was very hard. It was harder to chew the second bite than the first. But in the midst of chewing that second bite, I started to feel a little better. I still feel a little sick, but a little touch, just a teeny touch, but I feel relieved. And I know because usually when I get sick, I get frantic. That's the first feeling oh my God, I'm losing control. I'm a control freak. I'm losing control, because I have issues with my immune system, so I don't like getting sick. I had a lot of sickness as a child, and not fond memories. So I like to stay healthy most of the time and enjoy life. So the franticness passed during the course of the second bite that I'm chewing away. I started feeling at peace. And I said, oh. Because to me, having pathogens invade and take over, it's kind of like a bunch of people come and crash your house and start a party of their own, and they don't go away. And they're partying all night, and they're wearing you out. And I say this because we had a litter of kittens literally take over the house because we had to nurse them night and day. They had no mummy, and they were 2 days old. And that was some nightmare. I had nightmares of, one night I had a nightmare literally of people coming and crashing the house, starting a party and not going away. And that's what it felt like, because when they don't have their mummy, it takes twice as long to wean them. So whatever it was, 6 weeks became 12 weeks, So quite a nightmare. So that's what it felt like, having these pathogens in my body making me ill. It felt like it felt like a low-grade excitement, tension. And when the beeswax with its silver content started doing its job, apparently, because I reached a point where I'm going to be okay. So I thought I'd give you this little scoop because, it's one thing to say, well, do this, it's good for you, until something happens. And wouldn't you know it, when I do these things, something happens right away. Like when I first started studying Beaker, I was creating a circuit. I was going to surgically remove a scar on my knee. I never did it because I slashed my thumb instead. Oh my God. So instead of experimenting to see if I could regenerate flesh on the missing tissue in my knee with the missing scar, the hole in my knee that I would have made it, instead I had to heal this deep gash in my thumb that was gushing blood like crazy. And it proved to be a different way to test my theory. Well, it's interesting because I cut myself by accident, So here I am. I made myself sick by accident from some spoiled canned vegetables. And yet I have the remedy right here, and I made use of it, and I feel better in the course of just a few minutes, several minutes, watching a program. One could argue, well, it was the laughter that made him well. It took my mind off of it, but it didn't make me well. It made me appreciate the fact that life is good. Meanwhile, I'm chewing on my gum, my silver gum, and yeah, that's what we should call it, silver gum. And I do feel better, so I feel relieved. The laughter helped take my mind off the anxiety of being sick, but the relief came in the course of chewing on all that silver embedded beeswax. So it is a useful thing to do. Now, if you prefer to drink colloidal silver water, that's your choice. I find it impossible to drink this stuff because it tastes weird, and I have a hard enough time just drinking distilled water as it is, let alone it's got to have flavor and be weird on me. I try to stay away from juice because I know, being a candida sufferer, I make my own alcohol, so I can't afford to drink sweet teas or juice because that just makes my condition worse. So trying to drink plain water is very difficult, and I literally have to get aggressive on myself. I'll take a sip of the water and go, I don't know, I'm like a wimp. It doesn't taste like something I want to swallow. So, come on, drink, you're thirsty. And so I force myself and say, oh wow, yeah, I had to be aggressive. I had to take an aggressive stance because I'm a wimp when it comes to drinking. This is what I noticed about my cats dying from antifreeze poisoning, because that's what is affecting me now. 13 years later, still affecting me. They became wimps when it came to eating and drinking. They just had no desire, no motivation to eat or drink. It was really awful to watch. But that's what I go through to a lesser degree, and I've been going through it for 13 years now, is a lack of motivation to eat, drink, do things to the same degree that I used to do. Silver has helped, and I haven't taken a bath today in silver hydroperoxide, nor yesterday, because I had some foul-ups in making this stuff. I was busy doing other things, trying to make beeswax with embedded silver. I only have one machine, so a machine that can make silver in large quantity, colloidal silver in large quantities. So it's good because it got me to see if I could depend on the silver beeswax taken orally instead of silver hydroperoxide and MSM with mineral salts taken through the skin, absorbed through the skin. And it shows that it works. I could get by if I had to. So one is as good as the other. One route is as good as the other route. And it's kind of nice chewing on beeswax. It's like chewing gum. It's like, and you salivate and all. It's like, God, bring back the good old days when I used to chew gum when I was a kid. This is special gum, made just for me, just for my needs, perfectly suited for my needs. So, I thought I'd give you that little tip, a little tidbit, a little hearsay. We heard him say it, but we don't know if it's true. And leave you with that little motivation for making your own silver embedded beeswax, because it's kind of interesting. It's kind of nice. It's good to have around. Yes. Anyway.